One thing that has gotten the attention of a lot of Dragon Ball fans is the fact that Goten and Trunks haven't shown any signs of age despite the huge time gap that has taken place from the Buu saga in Dragon Ball Super. And because of this, it's led to discussions on forums, comment sections, and more as to why they don't age. But to dive deeper into this video, alrighty guys, it is Quaman here today, also known as Detective Q, and today I will give you a genuine theory as to why these Saiyan hybrids continue to look the same. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. So, the first thing we have to discuss is the shonen manga group that Dragon Ball in general takes place in. It takes place in the shonen brand, and if you know anything about the shonen brand, it literally translates to young boys. So when you have a shonen manga, they clearly want to have a young male protagonist because their main demographic is young boys to early teenagers. And when you factor this in, it makes sense for the Dragon Ball cast, who already has so many adults, to continue having a child character even if it's not a lead protagonist the way that Goku was all the way back in Dragon Ball. So because of this, Geekdom and I and Hail Zeon had a discussion a while ago in saying that this is one of the key reasons as to why we think Dragon Ball Super does this, because they need to have kids to continue fostering that whole shonen manga genre. And what better way to do it with the two sons of the main characters in Goku and Vegeta. The next thing to discuss here is dealing with the plot device. Now, here's something where we have to look at it from more of a storytelling point of view. In terms of a plot device, when you have a child character, you can always make that child character do something childish to change the plot or to alter something or to annoy a particular character. Let me give you a good example here. Let's say when you go back to the Battle of Gods arc, there was that one scene where Goten and Trunks were spraying water on Beerus while Beerus was on the ship. Now, because of that, coupled with another childlike character in Majin Buu, you now have a plot device that can always annoy characters because of how childish those particular characters are as compared to others. And when you also add more things like having random adventures that young boys would want to do, like Goten and Trunks had during the Plotafu arc, in addition to the fact that every now and then we want to see a throwback to a Gotenks fusion, it makes sense to have Goten and Trunks as kids to retain this childlike plot device throughout the series. And when you compare this to Pan and Bulla, those two characters are way too young at this point in the series that you can use them as kids instead of just using them as babies and infants. And if we were to go to the end of the Dragon Ball Z timeline where we would see Goku training against Oob, then Bulla and Pan can now replace the childlike Goten and Trunks, as Goten and Trunks would have aged at the end of Dragon Ball Z. So it's a cycle that needs to happen. And last but not least, guys, I think one of the key reasons that Dragon Ball Super is kind of bumped into is dealing with the Pilaf gang. So, when you look at the fact that in Battle of Gods, there's been this a little bit of a relationship between Kid Trunks and Mai that's been established, that's something that Dragon Ball Super doesn't want to completely get rid of, because if you keep Goten and Trunks and the Pilaf gang all around the same age, you can add to the amount of childlike characters who always get into nonsense. And the biggest thing that highlighted to me why this is an important plot device would be when Future Trunks showed up during the Future Trunks arc. We saw a massive contrast between the adult blue-haired Future Trunks as combined to the young purple-head Kid Trunks. And when you also look at the fact that there was also a Kid Mai and a Future Mai, there's clearly a divide that Dragon Ball Super wants to highlight between all of these characters. So I definitely think the Pilaf gang, in conjunction with the existence of Future Trunks and Future Mai, has highlighted as to why they keep Goten and Trunks the same age. And although this applies more to Trunks, since Goten is younger than Trunks, it only makes sense to scale Goten proportionately to what Trunks is. So ultimately, guys, after analyzing these three key reasons, if I had to pinpoint one main thing as to why they keep Goten and Trunks as kids, it would have to be the plot device. I think the shonen manga has some evidence towards it, and I also think the Pilaf gang is something that Dragon Ball Super has gotten into, but I do think when you look at a show, you always need to have a childlike character, and with the exception of the Pilaf gang and Majin Buu, it really doesn't make sense for characters that we care about to be kids in the series other than Goten and Trunks, because we've been watching Goten and Trunks for so many years, so we can continue to buy into the scheme even though Trunks should look like what he was during the history of Trunks. Personally, from my point of view, I'm not a big fan of them not aging Goten and Trunks because I want to see those characters grow, but I do have to be unbiased and actually analyze the series to see why they don't age them in the first place. So ultimately, guys, that's been my video for today. Let me know what theories you have as to why Dragon Ball Super doesn't continue to age Goten and Trunks, and let me know in the comment section below. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.